You're listening to the Hot Seed Podcast.
Welcome all. I'm Sean, along with my co-host Earl.
Tashi.
And Dave is out under the weather tonight, so we just holding it down. But you know what it still is. We're just dancing with mics, games with headsets, and a whole lot of unfiltered conversation. And as always, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Hot Seed Podcast. Be sure to listen, like, rate, review, share, and most importantly, enjoy on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite shows. And go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube channel at the Hot Seed Podcast. And since we're doing all that, still go ahead and visit our website, thehotseedpodcast.com, to where you can listen to the pod, watch the pod, and get you some merch. And if you're feeling real froggy, go ahead and sign up for the Hot Seed Podcast Plus to be a supporter of the show and get 20% off your merch and get some other exclusive tidbits, of course. We're back again, episode 148.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I was at the 150.
Yeah.
Man.
But for timestamp guy, you know, it's a Wednesday evening and it's rainy and it's dreary.
Is it?
I don't like none of this shit at all.
Man, that's just blue skies and white stars around here. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
So how was your week, bro?
It's I'm going through hell right now.
Is it because of the special day or?
No. Poison ivy.
Dang, did that happen when you put the deck together?
Yes, man. Yes,
Oh,
man. I know we knew it was back there, but I thought I had gloves on and stuff like that. And for everybody who's watching, you can see right there, I got I harvest stuff on my arms and my hands, man. I avoided this for 44 years. And
came and got you.
Yeah, I used to hear about like in school, man, people, teenagers and kids, you got some poison ivy, stuff like that. And I was looking at them, I'm like, nah, I just knew anything that looked like a vine, I stayed away from that shit. But as I got older, I'm always working in the yard. So, where I built the deck and we cut all that stuff back, but there's still some who's back there. And I'm looking at, you reading Google and like, this is what it looks like. I thought I was cool. Man, until later, I thought I got bit. I'm like, nah, this shit don't look like bites, bro.
Somebody said, do you even know how to recognize it?
Yeah, I know. I had these little small fluid filled blisters, like little small joints. But then it was just like where the oil got on me.
Mm-hmm.
I got that shit on my hands. God, it sucks.
Dang, it hurt.
I'm not itching right now. It's just annoying, right? At first, it was itching because at first I wasn't doing anything I was supposed to do. Like I'm using first of all, if you get this rash, whatever the case may be, when you're taking a shower, I like to take hot showers. Like I'll take hot showers. Mm-hmm. It's probably the worst thing I could have done. You're supposed to use like a cold, wet compress and stuff like that. But I'm using a hot shower because I'm there. But it's something so weirdly gratifying about the hot water catching because it was itching and it created. Now I know how if you have a pet, especially if a dog, and you scratch his back and you hit that one spot in their leg, that joint hit on my elbow, and it was like so soothingly itchy and thing. I'm like, and I just made it worse, so it kind of inflamed it. But so now I'm doing the right thing. I got eye harvest on me right now.
Over the counter or?
Yeah, it's over the counter. It's like this right there. This one specifically for poison ivy, poison oak is what we have right there by the damn pool. So I had to move that stuff back, but it's fine. But I just was in that area. But
you know what? Better you than somebody else.
Facts. Yeah, they've been mad as shit. But so now I'm still right at this point now. Oh, I'm getting rid of all that shit. I don't care if I got to burn it down. I'm killing all of it. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for it. And I feel like it's breeding mosquitoes. I done sprayed and stuff back there. I feel like, nah, I ain't got time for this. So I don't love it. But besides that, man, the week was dope, man. Like I said, to your point, the pool, the deck, got stuff got done. Memorial Day.
So you finished the deck and everything?
Yeah, I finished everything. All that stuff.
Okay.
It was up and everything. It was up on Memorial Day. We got it in. It filled overnight. I was up. all night. I started it that Sunday night, started filling it, and it wasn't complete until about like 6 a.m. You know.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
How many gallons was that?
Man, there's I think that thing says it's probably about 8,000 gallons, 9,000 gallons.
Yo, your water bill, bro.
Yeah, I need y'all to go ahead and go and listen to this pod. Either that, I'm gonna have to trap for a little bit.
Yeah, cause my goodness.
That one filled, so yeah, it got filled. So we'll call the water company and see. Say, hey, we filling up a pool. Can we get a credit or something? If not, then it is what it is. Told them
it might have been cheaper just to get a company to come out here and just do it.
I got trust issues, man. So I don't really trust nobody to do that right now. So.
But how does that work? So you just keep the water in, you don't drain it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not draining shit. I'm not draining that till after the season is over. I'll drain it once the winter comes around, and I'll drain it then, and then I'll just have to refill it next spring. I'm not. The weather's been so crazy in Maryland. I don't trust leaving that up. Mind you, remember when I bought the house, we had a whole tornado. I can't. Nah, bro. Nah, I can't have that. So.
And then I'm assuming that you got to call somebody to drain that.
No. You just drain the pool. Just drain it.
So where you draining that into?
I mean, it's gonna drain down here. It runs all downhill, so it'll rain. How it is.
Yo, that's why.
Well, yeah, we're draining out of this. Slowly but surely. The spout ain't but so damn big, so that shit is just gonna be like taking a while to drain it. So
I mean, I thought it would be like an extension that you put.
I mean, you can
until you into the street until.
I guess you can. I might do that. I might do that on a low and do that. Just to be.
Yeah.
So
let me tell you something. This sounds like a COVID like at night mission that you need to do. You're like, yo. All right, absolutely. Maybe everybody and do it on the weekday when people gotta go to work.
Yeah, I might do it because I don't want to flood nobody's backyard with water. And I don't want all the water just sitting in my backyard either. So I probably will just run a tube and just go ahead and drain it. I got the what's the name of this? I'll probably drain out front. I figured it out. I got to that part yet.
Yeah, well, I'll say you got some time to figure it out.
All I know
at least until Labor Day.
Yeah. Everybody better enjoy all this shit the whole time. I ain't got time for it.
Sheesh.
A lot of work. A lot of work. But it's fun. How's your week, man? How's your week? How's your weekend? Things like that.
Let's see. I mean, I can't complain. The week has been pretty good only because I took a couple of days off because I had some days to use.
I like it.
And my job is like if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So I extended my Memorial Day weekend. So that was cool. It was me and the family, and my cousin had a baby shower, so I was kind of out of commission this weekend.
Gotcha.
Family came up, so running around trying to get stuff at the baby shower. Then actually had the baby shower on Monday. Then I was off yesterday, so today was my first day going back. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, "Dang, I should have took off the rest of this week," but I'm actually glad I didn't, because then I saw my son's rest of the year schedule, and I was like, "There's a couple of days that I need to take off." So I already told my supervisor, like, "Yeah, I'm about to put these days in," but it's cool. Like they don't care, man. Like I said, I like that. Other than that, it's been chilling.
I'm gonna ask something controversial, and no, this is not a reflection on anybody that I know. Or anybody like that. But you ever see somebody having a baby shower and you be looking like, why y'all celebrating this? And what I mean by that is a situation where you be like, a child is on its way, but you're looking at the individual's situation and be like, what we celebrating though? This ain't a and so, I know, like the celebration of life is supposed to be a happy thing, but if I'm just gonna be real with it. If somebody, either as a couple or a single person, was that to me that makes it even more trying for them. You put together a whole baby shower, and then in your mind, you thinking like,
they ain't got no business
having nobody. But you know what I'm saying, like. but at the same time, you don't want to be like want to shit on nobody's,
I mean,
grand.
I figure like once you're there, you already committed to it. But
But do you go to
I know
them?
what I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But it's funny because my friend, he used to say this, like if people got pregnant, he'll ask, and I was like, he's so ignorant, but I understand. He would be like, somebody like, yeah, man, I'm pregnant. He'd be like, is it a good thing?
Right.
Or is it like we excited or we like so
Yeah.
but and then I realized and I understood like why he was asking that, because like some people, and especially who you asking, like if you talking to a guy and you just talking to the fellas and he like, yeah man, I done knock shorty up, and he like sounds like you're not happy, so this is not a celebratory situation. But you talk to maybe a female, I'm like, yeah, I'm having, but then the friends in the back is like, oh, he ain't shit, da da da. But yeah, I mean, I feel like to answer your question, yes,
Right.
there are baby showers like that.
Yeah.
Have I gone to them? No.
Nah.
Because I go in knowing that it ain't shit, and I'm like, I'm not about to be a part of this. I'll send something from afar, but I'm like, nah. Because me coming there is me supporting the fuck shit.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, yeah. And I don't care who it is. It's like, it could be my sister. I'm like, not to say that that's happened to her, but I'm just saying, like,
it's a little thing. Because I mean, it ain't even about them. I'm thinking about the kid. I'm like, I don't even know the little shorty, but he or she don't know what they walking into. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I found that interesting.
Or people having showers and the family probably know, like, nah, yo, that ain't his kid. but he ain't.
That ain't even. I ain't even think about.
Yeah, I've heard some stories, and I'm like, I mean, I've heard stories to where the family knew.
Yeah.
Before the child was born. I felt like the guy knew, but he was just in denial, and maybe he was love struck or whatever they call it. But yeah, and then maybe a couple years later, he started seeing the kid and seeing the features. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute now. So, but I mean, like if you're at that point, it's just kind of like, I mean, well, what you gonna do in that moment? You just commit to it.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if we have gained more listeners or lost some listeners off this. We apologize. I mean, I want y'all to enjoy your baby showers. I'm just saying, make sure y'all do it for the right reason, I guess. It's the Hot Seat Podcast with your boy Sean and Earl. Our man, the storyteller, is out tonight. He is down for the count. My man is under the weather. I mean, we are a sight to see. He down for the count. I'm over here with Poison Ivy. Earl, the only one that's right now. This.
Yeah, the only thing that's wrong with me is I'm sorry, I'm munching over here because I realized that I ain't eat all day.
Oh yeah, you trying to have an episode or something, ain't you?
Nah, I ain't. It's been a long day. It's been moving and grooving.
Fair enough. It's been a long month, man, and we're approaching the end of May. May, of course, is on a serious note. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Something that is very near and dear to my heart. Something that the good brother Earl practices heavy in. So it's a very, very important. So I want to bring up this. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and I want to tie it in together. Episode 148, and we're going to title this bad boy Value Size. And what I mean by this, we're going to talk about value, and throughout the different topics we're going to talk about, man, it's just finding a value in that. And I'll just go from the mental health awareness side. Being 44, as I am now, or after you hit 40, and we talked about this on several episodes, probably over the last several years we've done this. My thinking, and see if y'all can follow me with this. As you grow up, there's like different milestones that you hit. When you're from a kid, you might have you might have their 10-year-old birthday party or something like that. I don't know, teenager. Then you get to 16, you get your driver's license. 18,
you're an
adult. You can, back in the day, you can smoke. Yeah. 21, you can drink.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 18 as well. You can vote. 25. It's something happens at 25. Something weird. But once you get like 35,
25 is just like kind of like now you feel like you're an adult.
Yeah. Your insurance goes down to like 30 something.
That's when life get real because then you slowly getting off your parents' insurance or whatever.
Yeah, and then 40 hits, and you kind of like plateau, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start looking at things differently because now you look at what did I do for the first 20 years of my life?
Mm-hmm.
And to be perfectly honest, a lot of people start looking at, hey, I'm 40. I'm roughly 25 years away from retirement, which ain't very far. If you think about it, like you thinking 40, because now at this point, unless you have already ascended in your career, either you own your own business, if you work for somebody, now you're at the point in your career where unless you're at a point to where you can get up to like a senior position, if you're like in one of those middling spaces, you're kind of stuck because most employers will look at you and say, well, they already know, okay, if he or she is 40, something like that, they probably have a bunch of responsibilities. So they're going to command a certain level of salary. Not the same as when you're 20-something, because, it's a perception. Hey, 20-something years old, hey, look, we can start with this. 40-something years old, I can't just offer you what I'm going to offer a younger person because, again, at 40-something, you come with a lot more. You probably got kids, spouse, yada, yada, yada. So then once you get to that point, if you're not at a certain level, things start to look a little different. And I think this is probably where a lot of the mental health aspects kick in, because now that one-time career that you probably had been in, when you started, it felt good 10 years ago. Now this feels like a job. Now you're looking at it on a daily basis like, man, am I ever going to move up?
Right.
Am I ever going to do this? So you're kind of like stuck. And then what happens from that is it's a day-to-day grind.
Mm-hmm.
You start looking at, if you got a spouse or kids, especially if they're younger or something like that, you look at them and like, man, it's not like you're not regretting that, but all of a sudden, male or female, when you get home or things like that getting out of the car takes you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Because like now it's like, oh, I just left for work, I'm going home. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of like my sight is like 40-something. Yeah, what you got?
So I mean that's interesting. That's a good topic. So I think let's go back. 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't feel like, for most of us, I don't feel like we've taken life serious yet because we're still in that kid mentality.
We got time.
Right, exactly. Unless you had a kid in your 20s, then it forces you. But let's just say if you were like me and you didn't have a kid in your 20s, then you're still living in that child mentality. You know what I'm saying? Now you got a little bit of money. Depending on your situation, you might have some responsibilities, may not have any, but you don't have a kid. So that drains you, right? 30s is when you really start living. Like at 30 is when you really start to understand like life, responsibilities, your body starts to change. You realize you're not 20-something years old. Your body is the appetizer. It's telling you like, all right now, what you did in your 20s, you got to chill out because this 30s is going to help you transition. It's going to be that transition to you when you get to your 40s, because when you get to your 40s, that's your last hurrah, and then I'm about to show you what your body about to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, certain things become a little bit harder because you're older. It's not as easy to lose weight. You could go play ball when you was in your 20s or whatever, hurt yourself, you'd be good the next day. You know what I'm saying? Or at least a couple days later. Nah, you get out of the bedroom, you know what I'm saying, in your 40s, shit in your 30s, And that shit, motherfucker, like you be good all day, and then next thing you know, you get up, you sit down for so long, and you're like, oh man, something wrong with it. And that shit be lingering. So, but I say all that to say, and this is somebody, and I'll speak my own journey. The 20s, again, you don't think about shit. And I can say that because I ain't had too much responsibilities in my 20s.
Right.
30s, that's when the responsibilities kick in. When you start to have a family, you get married, and then you also, because as you're getting older, the people around you are getting older. The people that you love are getting older. So you're starting to see certain things and deal with certain things that you never thought that you was going to have to deal with. I mean, you did, but it wasn't a reality because when you're in your 20s and you're young, you're never thinking about the future. You're always stuck in the present. I tell my students this all the time. Y'all got to change your mindset and stop being stuck in the present and think about the future. So you have that. But then when you get, and I would say like around this time, well, I'm 39. I'm actually turning 40 in July. Now you're starting to think about, you getting older.
Yeah.
You starting to think about death. You're really perseverating on it. I actually was perseverating on that in my 30s, and it really started like my late 30s, and this really started trickling when my dad passed. But then thankfully I came out of that, and I had to change my mindset because one thing is if you're wasting all your time thinking about what's inevitable, you're wasting your life. You know what I'm saying? And depending on if you're religious or not, like I said, what made me content is I'm like, in my mind, or what I truly believe is that life on earth is not the prize in my book. You know what I'm saying? Life on earth is the test. You know what I'm saying? The test to see, okay, I'm going to give you this life. I'm going to put these vices in front of you. I'm going to afford you this family. Let's see what you do with it. I'm going to give you these talents. Let's see what you do with it. And this is the test to see if you are living your life righteous, if you're doing whatever God you serve, if you're living the word, or if you're at least trying to live righteously. If you're at least doing the bare minimum and trying to help your fellow man. Whether you picked up a Bible or not. Are you trying to help your fellow man? Are you utilizing your talents and things of that nature? So I looked at that and I said, you know what? I get it. So now I enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? I look and I say every single day that I woke up, it's a blessing. Because I know people who didn't get to wake up. I know people that I went to school with that is not here today, which I still can't believe. I'm like, damn. And even still, one of the things I used to do, which I still do it a little bit, but I don't have the same reaction. Every time somebody passed, first thing I would do, I would perseverate on figuring out how did they pass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How did they pass away? And I'm like, I think for my own psyche, it was just like, especially if they were young.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I needed for my mental to find, and this kind of sounds messed up, but for my mental, I kind of needed to be like, they had to be on drugs, or maybe something was going on. You know what I'm saying? As weird as that sounds, like I needed some kind of logic, But like I told myself, and even my sister was something like, stop doing that, and she's right, because it's like at the end of the day, you don't know when it's your time to go. All you know is that today I'm alive, and it also made me have a different outlook on life. Because how many times, and you could probably, you can speak to this. How many times have you said, you know what, I'm gonna push this out? I do it during this time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's like we do that, acting as if like that time is guaranteed. Like we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be here. Like, nah, if it's something that you really want to do and it's within your means, man, ain't no time like the present. I forget what rapper said it. You know, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today's a gift. That's why it's the present, and that's facts.
I think Common might have said that at one point. I'm not sure.
I want to say the Common, Slick Rick.
But then that's like a rendition.
Yeah, but you know, that's my speed.
Let me ask on this because what made me think about this was I was in the airport. Think it was oddly enough, I just random thought and watching everybody hustle and bustle back. You know, when we started the pod, this was during COVID. You know, we were back outside, but not outside. But you know, that was during that time. So that was what 2020, I think it was. Yeah, because this is year 4 of us. So 2020, and you know, it amazes me that for that short period of time, we actually paused and thought about things that are important, things that we valued. But then, how crazy is this? When we started the pod, what were we talking about? When we were talking about the pod, we remember we were having one of our early episodes at the time. Then President Donald Trump was on his way out. He was trying to be up for re-election. Then you know, we saw the whole January 6th situation. All that shit was happening.
Yeah, that's the
fast forward 4 years. Is this like the weirdest? Not even the weirdest. This is like the shittiest deja vu there is, because it looks like ain't nothing changed at all. Interest rates for home buying is through the roof. Cost of living is bananas. You got Donald Trump try to. You were like, wait a minute, did we just see this movie? He's back running for president again. The only thing that has changed, and I don't think it's changed. Maybe the coverage isn't there. You know, black people getting shot on a regular basis isn't happening as much, or it's not being as publicized as much. It's just like, it's a lot of things that you look at it, not much has changed in it. Like what we valued during that time seemed to have been like washed away completely. And we just back doing the same thing all over again. And when I say we, I mean as a collective. If you really stand back, you're like, y'all humans ain't learn shit from this. Like now, there's some places who have, but as a whole, not much.
But it's know why? Because you know, we were all forced to be still.
Right.
Like we physically couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
You know, and you know, the housing market for buyers was ridiculous, but for the sellers, oh my God, it was
right.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
You know, because at that point now people value, like, I want space.
Yeah.
Like, God forbid if something like this happens again, you know, I'll at least be content because I'm in my own home. I don't have to be in an apartment and worrying about being around this person. But I mean, to your point, again, like, I think it slowed everybody down. So we were forced to figure things out and see with certain people. And that's why I love our people. I mean, I love all people, but, you know, I really love our people because through all adversity, we're going to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing we talk about, one of the positives is like entrepreneurship went up.
Oh, it went up. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially within our community, because I feel like, like we actually had time to sit down and say, you know what, let me put this together. You know, and then also getting on there with a collective of people. I think the other thing too, when you talk about like in today's climate, nothing really changed. And you're right. I mean, I think we're all kind of like zombies in the sense where I think we just got immune, which is scary. Like we got immune to this shit, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like it's some real shit. Like we're teetering on the verge of World War III over some bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got innocent kids, like adults, everything under the sun that are losing their life over there in Palestine. You know, and It's crazy, bro.
I mean, that is something I think we touched on, babe. That's something that has been even more far-reaching than that. Humanity, in my opinion, is losing their lives at the expense of a 6.5 inch screen, that being your mobile device. And what I mean by losing your lives is like that piece of tech has now like really dictates your day to day. Like for all the good that is done, and during that time, out of the good, we got verses and all this other stuff there, which was great, brought people together, yada yada. But at the same time, we're seeing more and more and more the amount of life-sucking energy that piece of material takes. Those who may be listening or watching this are saying, well, you guys are on here. How can you say that same thing? I said, because of course, with everything, there's good and there's bad. What you intake is, based on what you do. But now there's so much. It seems like there's so much of the bad part out of it, whether it's an algorithm or something like that, is insane. And now it can take a whole group of individuals and completely turn them into something else. We saw that when we, saw the Drake Kendrick beef there. We saw things where, like, the amount of things that are still allowed to be put into a public space. It's the point. Today, so Facebook. Yes, I'm an OG, so I still got Facebook.
I do too. I rarely get on there, but I do.
It's grown people do, and this is the people we probably still talk to more times. Yeah. Not so much. But in any case, I just said on there, I'm talking about the whole poison and everything, and I literally said, for 44 years, I have avoided poison ivy / poison oak. ... Well, so much for that. And then I said, I'm ready to burn down every tree and plant at this point with a laughing emoji. Do you know, after I have posted that, I get the message from Facebook saying, your post may be one that violates our policy based on for violence and inciting things. And I was like, do you still want to post this? Because I said I'm
burning stuff down.
I'm like, what? Are you? And I know it's programming in there. I said, because I'm thinking about is, I swear I just saw a whole video of two young ladies like fighting each other, like straight out brawl that came through the timeline, or somebody reposted it or something like that, or something where a teacher was, a young person went up to fight a teacher, stuff like that. I'm like, what the hell?
Let me tell you something, and I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm confused.
Whoever is governing the Facebook police or social media police,
it got to be AI, bro.
They kiss my ass, because these people will say, like, I'll every now and again, I have time. So somebody is I'm on the, and I'm one of those people. I'm on my phone a lot. I mean, because it's entertaining. You don't have anything to do, and you got to be careful because you can get lost in there for hours.
Right.
But somebody put up an intriguing post or something happened. There's always something, and somebody got comments on it. And every now and again, I like to engage in these comments, because I also look at it as, even though I don't feel like I need to educate, sometimes I do feel the need to say certain things when warranted, because I also feel like, while there's a lot of ignorance out there, like that's blatantly ignorant and not trying to do anything to fix it, I do feel like there are a group of people out there who are ignorant because of circumstances, but not to say that they're not willing to learn. Their experience has created that ignorance, and the lack of exposure has created that ignorance, but not, they don't, not to say that they wouldn't want to try to learn and wouldn't be open-minded to understanding somebody else's point of view, because people have different lenses. So You know, the social media police could kiss my ass because I remember I would say like certain things like you fucking dummy, like dumbass, and then I get IG telling me this comment looks like something, and then meanwhile in that same thread, every other person nigga this, nigga that, nigga, and I'm like, so that's cool, but me calling you stupid is threatening. Got it.
I don't understand it, man. Like before we go on something else, like we can do like the most harmless things. Meanwhile, we got to battle all the porn bots and everything else that comment every post that we put on there, man.
Bro. When you go on these feeds and it just stuff just come up, it's like they find more and more ways to get creative, and I'm just like, yo, I ain't mad at it, but I'm just like, yo, dog. So that's cool. Like,
here's a question, man. Like, so I read things, and you can quote unquote train your timeline to be what the stuff you want on there, and that's kind of partially true. It's kind of true because, like, I look at a lot of golf stuff, so I get a lot of golf posts. But I'll tell you what, though, even on them golf posts, stuff comes up there, and I'm like, where the nipples come from? We're talking about a hole in one, and she is definitely talking about a hole. You know what? Let's go to something else. It's the Hot Seat Podcast with your boy Sean Earl, man. Dave's out this week because he's under the weather, man. My man ate something bad. Look, he was showing out the day before Memorial Day. Back in the yard, grilling, blowing a cigar, Paul, stuff like that. And then look at him, because I was saying, hey, I'm gonna put the pool up. Hey, man, it's gonna rain. What you gonna do that day? Look at him now, boy. I tell you.
I had a cigar, some food, some good food because Dave could cook.
Yeah, I did. I did the same thing too. I cooked my ass off. I grilled on Memorial Day. Here's what happened.
I wanted to. I wanted to, but I wasn't able to. So
had the umbrella up and everything. I didn't care. Smoke inhalation, all that. Stuff. Episode 148, man. Value size. So let's talk about. Let's switch gears a little bit. Right now we are in playoff mode right now, and we saw one team get swept the hell up out of the NBA playoffs, and that being the Indiana Pacers, which they got swept. But part of me, it was like, bro, y'all had 2 out of those 4 games. Y'all clearly had game 1. And
game 1 should have been there.
And then I want to say game 3 it was when they had that game as well. But now we still have the Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, with Minnesota pushing it to one more game 5.
And they're going home.
Yeah, I feel like Dallas was kind of inefficient. Well, not the whole team. Kyrie was a little bit off. There's some shots that they didn't really make, and the ball kind of bounced their way. Cat kind of showed up for once. But we are going to get a game 5. But at the end of the day, I think we all both know it's going to be Boston and Dallas. Finals. But while we're the NBA aspect, if you guys saw, so we have been watching the NBA on TNT for at least the last 15 years. I know of my life. It might have been on longer than that. Multi-time winning Emmy Award winning show with Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and then Shaq got added some years later. And I ain't gonna lie, that there is no better pregame or postgame show than the NBA on TNT. It's raw and uncut, man, because one is on cable. It's not on ABC or something like that. And those guys, it's funny. The production is always dope. But unfortunately, that may be coming to an end with NBC, which used to be the home of the playoffs. If you guys remember, round ball rock. I had to, what I'm talking about. So right now they're actually looking at bringing back John Tesh to actually read.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they actually put that in there. But NBC apparently are attempting to buy the rights for NBA for about $2.5 billion. So that would take that away from TNT, which means that could be the end of the NBA on TNT crew, with potentially, I don't think Ernie Johnson will leave TNT, from what I think he'll probably retire before anything. But you still got Shaq, Kenny, and Charles. But Ernie still keeps it together. It's like,
Yeah.
Man.
I mean,
Yeah.
Shaq don't need to do it.
TNT. I guess. What do you think about being the end of that? But then now this coming back to NBC when
I mean, I feel like certain things when you move them to a different platform or you change what the essence of it is, it's just like, you know what? Stop trying to make it work in something else. Like, this is what we've known it to be.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be that, then, everything got to come to an end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether we want to or not, Also, too, the writing was kind of on the wall. And if you realize, like, they've been throwing other people in the mix.
Yeah,
true. You seen like Candace Parker, you seen Dwayne Wade in there, you seen Jamal Crawford.
He's been up there.
You see different people, a couple other, and I forget it's another white guy who's kind of like sitting for Ernie.
Yeah.
And I think that's intentional. I think they're doing that because they know that the essence, you got Draymond up there now. They know that at some point the fixtures of the show is going to step down, whether they are just like, I'm tired, or other things are coming up. I don't know if you remember, but I seen an interview like last year that Charles was like, yo, he already had in his mind, like when he turns a certain age and he's
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
I want to say it was like 65 or something. I could be lying.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, and after that, I'm hanging with my grandkids. I'm chilling. Which I get it. Ernie, I'm not going to speak for him, and I don't even want to even speculate. But I wouldn't be shocked if part of me is like, I could see if Ernie stops.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other part of me is like, I could understand why he would want to keep going. I'll just keep it at that. Just for the things that he's dealt with, in his life. Because also too, when you work, and this goes back to like when you're getting older, right? Working keeps you alive in some ways.
It does. It does. Yeah, it does.
Work can also kill you.
You got a purpose. Yeah, you're working because you got a purpose or something. Yeah.
Right. But when you actually are, when your body is conditioned to, getting up, it knows it's got to get itself ready because it's going into, it's got to move.
Yeah.
That keeps you moving. And this is why, like, and it's funny because when you're working, you're looking for retirement. You know what I'm saying? Like, our goal is we want to retire at an early age.
Right.
But it's just like, okay, retire and then do what?
Yeah. You want a purpose, man. You definitely want a purpose.
It's just no different from like when we were kids, and I'm around these kids all day, and I hear them saying it until they get there. When we was in our teenage years, we want the freedom, we want to be an adult. This,
right?
You get it, and you're like, oh, this shit is ghetto.
Right, you take
now it's the other way around. So it's like, I think the difference now is when you're talking about retiring, at a younger age. You're not there to sit on your ass. Like, it's just opening your time up to do things that you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Things that you probably wouldn't have done or you didn't have the time to do, when you were working at 9 to 5. So I wouldn't be, and Shaq is good. Like, Shaq is going to leave here and he got a million other things that he got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is nothing. Like, this is a big part of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Or I say it is a big part of who he is, but it ain't everything he is. He got a million and one things, and I don't know how he juggles all of that stuff, quite frankly.
He does, man. I also feel like, a lot of people that are of a certain ilk look at this as, okay, we need a changing of the guard. And when I mean this, because everybody who watched the show, they don't pull no punches. And they're all from the older generation of basketball.
Right.
And I'm willing to bet that TNT don't care for the most part, because the ratings, they weren't winning Emmys and everything else, but the NBA, I'm pretty sure. I don't know anything, but just based off of what happened with Jeff Van Gundy. Jeff Van Gundy, he had been a long time color analyst on ABC with the guys there, and they let him go. When ESPN, but if you remember, Jeff Van Gundy, even doing the telecast, which always was kind of crazy to me, he'd be criticizing the officiating and the NBA live. So I know the NBA be like, yo, we can't have this guy out here just just dogging the referee when he wasn't wrong in some of the stuff he was saying. So I think now the NBA is trying to appeal to this. Well, they not trying, but they appeal to a different type of viewer now. Whereas people who are still used to NBA being like a certain way, the fundamental aspect of it, they call stuff out. Case in point, I was watching the Boston Indiana game. Me and my son was watching, and we both looked at each other because he's been around. He's seen stuff going, and the infamous, this is a gather, not a travel. And I'm like, no, that's a fucking travel, bro. I don't know what's happening, but somebody of this new age will argue you down why this is a gather. I'm like, sir, go get what's the gentleman who invented basketball,
Nate Smith.
He would probably be like, that is definitely a travel, sir.
When I wrote it, I didn't even have gathers in there.
Yeah, so when you got the older guard, I guess, and I'm not saying, I'm just assuming, but sometimes you listen to it and I agree with it, but I know for a viewership aspect, when they calling out Cat, you got Shaq, calling out Jokic. He's not calling him out and saying, hey, I just, he believed the SGA should have won, the MVP, which he should have, but whatever. I think some of these things now, I think the NBA are like, hey, maybe we should move on to the people who are gonna quote unquote play ball with us.
But so you brought, my bad, I didn't cut you off.
You good?
You brought up a good point. And I'm just thinking about, let's just think back to when, we was watching. I wasn't watching when Magic was playing. Like,
all right.
No, let me not say that. When he came out of college, I wasn't watching.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Gotcha. Like to tell in, I've seen that. But think about, like, I'm more Jordan era, right?
Mm-hmm. So
when Jordan was out, what I didn't hear the announcers ever say is, oh man, these young guys, man, I don't like their style of play and da this. And maybe I could be wrong. But you didn't hear the criticism that you like from when Michael Jordan came in the league, in terms of like, it's soft and it's like it felt like it was just a barrage of negativity, right?
Right.
And it might have been some stuff. It definitely was some stuff with Jordan where it was like, he's kind of jockeying. You got to get got to move the ball and things of that nature. But it ain't to the degree in which you hear with Ernie and them, and not really Ernie. So and it's not no shade on them, but when you hear Charles is, oh my God, Charles. But we respect it because he say the shit that we feel.
And we be thinking.
He's appealing to a certain demographic. So when you're talking about people who grew up watching Jordan, so we want to say like cats that's in their mid to late 30s. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the teeter. But cats, no, that's right. Cats that's in their mid 30s. You know what I'm saying? And even to some degree, I want to say like 33-ish, and up. You're appealing to that crowd because we understand what you're talking about. We grew up when the NBA was physical. You know what I'm saying? But the crowd, if they're trying to bring this crowd in, which I understand because realistically, a good portion of your NBA now resembles that demographic that's in their early 20s.
And you got to think about the betting aspect.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That too. So if you're looking at it and you're trying to appeal to that, then it's like, you're not going to stop these older announcers from saying the things that they say. You know what I'm saying? But how you balance that is by you get some younger people in there that, I ain't gonna say like necessarily, but they got to go a little bit younger with with the hosts, So
they are. They definitely are. And some of them mesh. Like say you got like a Draymond, he's much younger than the guys he's up, but see, Draymond could probably have played back in those days. But you got some of them, I mean, his mentality. But some of the younger guys get up there, you be like, this don't match at all. Like you can be like, this don't match. Like Austin Rivers don't really match to me. And then you could tell by some of the statements, not the down what they saying, but like you guys, hell, look at JJ Redick. I know sometimes they say a lot of stuff for these hot takes and talking about the fact that the NBA was a watered down league back when Jordan played. And I'm like, so that's not what that is. But again, it could be present at the moment. They did grow up on this new era. But again, as much as them moving out the old guard, really, like everything is about offense and stuff like that. Everything is sped up. Nobody.
I mean, and nobody's disputing. Just to your point of JJ, nobody's disputing that today's league is way more skillful than we've ever seen. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. The skill set that Jordan had back then is pretty much the norm for what everybody has right now. And I'm just talking about like skills. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of the level,
the mentality ain't the same.
Mentality
like not
the mentality that he has, nobody has that. The closest person, now there's a couple people that you can compare it to, like Ant-Man got that dog in him. But Jordan was diabolical with it, like to the point where ain't nobody saying that. It was already a known thing that the veterans would tell the rookies that came in here because everybody wanted to get their name out there. So I bet I got to go after the top dog. So I'm gonna talk shit, gas you up, think you really doing something, and then you really think you getting busy with Jordan, and then the veterans who played with this man and seen this man firsthand is like, yeah, nah, chill out. Like, yo, don't hype him up. I don't care if it's a preseason. Like, chill out. Like to the point where Jordan was a different type of crazy. Where if people ain't saying nothing to him, he gotta make up shit.
Yeah,
he gotta make up stories and scenarios to gas him up, so that he can come and kick your ass, yo.
Nah, yeah.
Who's doing that today?
They value. See, this goes to the theme of the show, valued, and there are NBA players, that will argue this down and just say, dispute anything I may say, but just from the outside looking in and watching the effort and the way things are done, and then you see how things come together. I feel like a lot of the older players now, they feel like they valued the NBA in a way when it came to competition, getting it out of the mud, winning championships, building their legacies, being the best at their positions, night in and night out. I think they value that more than maybe what this new iteration is, to where now a lot of this stuff now it's so financially weighted towards them. I mean, we're not counting pockets, but you see a couple of things be like, does that player warrant that particular contract? I mean, you only worth what they're willing to pay you. But at the same time, you look at this and be like, man, how has this worked out for you? But again,
I mean, you kind of can't even say like, are they worth it anymore? Because I think we're looking at it and we're equating it from older contracts, not realizing that, I mean, we realize it, but we got to remember that when what the minimum is now is completely different from what it was back then.
With the minimum now, that's what like some of those cats was getting back then. But it's just
that was a top tier, like perfect example.
Right.
And respect to my man Hardestein, because he's a beast. He does his job. The Knicks are offering him potentially a 4-year deal, $72 million contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a 4-year, $72 million contract at one point would have been something for a top tier player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like a top tier.
Yeah.
But with collective bargaining, these new contracts, obviously, that's changed.
Yeah.
Does he deserve that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But when we look at it from our era, we like, the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's too much money.
Yeah.
But then meanwhile, on the football side, I'm like, I feel like there's been changes, but there's only been changes in certain positions.
Quarterback, receiver, left tackle.
Right, exactly.
End,
but hey, tomato.
It is tomato. Hot Seat Podcast with your boy Sean Earl. Again, Dave's out tonight, man, or doing this episode because he's under the weather.
Hershey squirts, but feel better, my guy.
Let's talk about something else. We were talking about some value, man. Did you see the ruling on the NCAA having to pay out $2.5 billion over 10 years
to play? Now, I guess what I'm confused about is that across all sports.
See, that's the interesting part. So it says NCAA over $2.5 billion over 10 years for past and present players based off of antitrust stuff. So we know what we're leaning towards. We know we're leaning towards football and basketball. Mm-hmm. And this was decided on, and they agreed on between the Power Five. But here's the thing, though. However they pay it out, not all schools have both sports. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? So, like, I think the team, the most of these teams, their football programs bring in the bread for them.
Right.
Unless you're some of the blue chip basketball teams like a Duke, Carolina, stuff like that. But majority, I feel like this is really, really weighted towards the football side. So I don't know how that's going to work out for schools who are in some of these major conferences that don't have a football team. But like, we didn't have no part of that. Mm-hmm. But the $2.5 billion, the first I'll say, salute to the old Bannon brothers, Ed O'Bannon and Charles O'Bannon, for bringing this to light. This is back 2014, 2015, when they sued the NCAA, man, at the time. Which, crazy enough, the feds they ruled that they had to pay the NCAA had to pay like $44 million in lawyer fees for Ed O'Bannon. Lawyer fees, bro. Like, I don't know how much money Ed O'Bannon got, if any, but the lawyers made out. So that's 2014, 2015, back when we, our last NCAA game. Fast forward 10 years later, and they're having to pay out $2.5 billion, which, to let you guys know real quick, yearly, the NCAA brings in a little over $1 billion, and majority of that, from what I read, comes through March Madness. The money they raise from that, because they get that so much money. They make
NCAA what? All NCAA or basketball?
No, basketball. Because
I'm about to say, because ain't nowhere in the world NCAA is only pulling in $1 billion. That's bullshit.
No. They make that about $1 billion just off of March Madness, and that's all the naming rights and stuff like that. So, so the $2.5 billion, which is a ginormous number, if they making $1 billion just doing March Madness,
what? Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
but that's why I'm like, I don't feel no type of way when they got to pay this, because I also be feeling like, you know what, they actually could do way better than that, because $2.5 billion, and I didn't see the whole nature of the contract or the settlement, but that ain't a lot.
It's not.
To it's kind of giving me this college football kind of
$600 a piece.
contract. Yeah, like $600 in the t-shirt or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not a lot, especially when if you just talking about one sport, shit, football alone, but that's got to spread across different sports. So that's not really a lot of money.
So this is what, so according to this, this is the ESPN report. So all Division I athletes dating back to 2016 are eligible to receive a share as a part of the settlement class. In exchange, athletes cannot sue the NCAA for other potential antitrust violations and must drop their complaints in 3 open cases: House versus NCAA, Hubbard versus NCAA, and Carter versus NCAA. So $2.5 billion going back to 2016 for all Division I.
So what's the body that decides if they're going to do that or not?
So they the board of governors, the NCAA board of governors, so ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and Pac-5, all the Power 5 guys, they accepted the terms of the agreement.
Oh, they did.
They accepted the agreement, and then
but they weren't players represented from like.
But see, no, not in this case. So, but see, what they're trying to get from underneath this, because again, they have to drop their complaints in these pending open cases. So House versus so there's a lot of litigation against the NCAA right now. So they pay out this $2.5 billion. So again, I still feel like they're making out light.
Oh no, first of all, they've been getting off for years. And yes, that 2.5 again.
Lawyer fees coming out.
If you're willing to pay $2.5 billion, that just lets you know how much they're pulling in.
Yeah.
Like it's probably it probably with all sports is probably teetering $1 trillion. If not.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. They something had to be done, because you still have, again, not the pocket watch, but you have, especially in college football, the top 25 football coaches' salaries are insane. You see, got cats like Matt Rule, his name always pops up, who's coaching in Nebraska. Remember, he got fired from Carolina, and now he's in Nebraska.
He's getting paid for both of them, man.
Yeah, and if they make or win their I think Big 10, I think they're in, they can rip up that contract and give out a new one in this case there. So I mean, these cats been making out like bandits, especially the coaches, year after year. Some of them not even finishing their full terms, still being owed their money, being bought out. So something had to give, because they literally are making money off the backs of these athletes year after year after year.
Yeah.
And
it's not, I don't want to knock and be like, yo, they don't deserve that money. I'm not saying that. But what I'm also saying, because you also got to think about the time that they got to invest in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of them have families. It's literally, it's a round-the-clock situation.
Right.
Because even when you're at home and you're with your family, especially if you're a football coach, you got players that you're thinking about. You got players that you're responsible for. They do some shit, and you talk about a football team where you got over 50-something people on there, probably close to about 80, that you got of kids at that, or young adults, that is running through your mind. And shit, you don't go through a season where you don't have any issues. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get that.
You earn that shit. But,
at the same point, though, if you have an athlete, right, and let's say he's not a top tier athlete, he's not a starting quarterback, starting shooting guard, something like that. Just thinking about the two major sports, they be making their bread like that. But let's say like you're a mid-tier player and you get injured. Something that really ruins your career. And let's say you were a highly recruited person in there. You can't play. Your football career, basketball career is over. So now you're relegated. So, of course, you're going to still get your degree. But as far as financial impact, the coach you were playing for, still making out. There's no assurances. I guess if you have insurance or something like that, if either that, you out back. And more than likely, you're losing your scholarship. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. And then the whole time, let's say you played 3 years of doing that time. Didn't get paid for any of that time. You get injured or something like you get cut, something weird like that. Go to transfer, whatever. Make nothing out of it. Meantime, your team that you were on, let's say you were injured, they don't want a national championship. Y'all got nothing out of it. The coach that came in, made his money, he moved out. Somebody owes somebody something.
No, I agree.
Owe them something. Now, again, the coaches, they do their work. Being a former coach, you think about that shit all the time. But there is a certain level of fairness that needs to come about this because you just see them. Look at the production of the games.
Right.
We look at everybody carries, the brackets for March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
We see how crazy the damn, the national championship games is. All
the money that the sports betting and shit.
Yes,
oh my God.
all this stuff, man. Like all this stuff is in there, and it was like they just making out like it's nothing. So 2.5 billion.
I remember, and I'll bring up another point with this after I say this part. I remember having this conversation like back when I first got into college. And I was debating this with my brother because he played basketball. I won't say for the school, but he played, Division I, and he was a student athlete. And I remember, we debated, and I was like, "Yo," his argument was like, "Yo, players should get paid." You know what I'm saying? To go to some of these programs because it's like they cover your tuition.
Yeah.
But he was like, what they don't tell you is what you gotta, what you're giving up. Like you're giving up time. When y'all get to go home for these vacations and the holidays and stuff like that, guess what? We're at school. You know what I'm saying? We're at study hall, we're working out, like it's a job, and I have to commit, this is my college life.
Yes.
And I'm like, and part of me was like, actually a lot of me was like, yo, fam, I don't have no empathy for you or sympathy for you because I'm like, when it's all said and done, you got to go to school for free to play a sport. Whereas me, I'm going to have to pay this shit back. But when I realized, and I actually, that was an ignorant time in my life. But when I realized like what they actually have to endure, how much, the biggest reason, how much these programs are making, and then not funnel it back and pouring it back into the kids, then that's a problem. See, I felt like there wouldn't have been no need for NIL. There wouldn't have been a need. And I don't know if this is a part of that, but I did read somewhere that they just approved that universities can start paying players.
Sorry. Yeah.
So that would have ruled out all of that. I mean, even though you have friends of the program, quote unquote, giving like Cat's been getting paid for years, but that would have ruled out all of that stuff if they wasn't being greedy.
Yep.
And that's the NCAA and these schools. Like I remember when I found out that just from a school, especially like let's think about NCAA, the tournament. If a school gets into the dance, your school gets money. But then I realized it's not even your school. It's your conference gets money. And then you all decide how they, I guess they have something on how they break it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's your conference that gets the money. You know what I'm saying? And then my thing is just like, all right, and that goes to school. How much of that trickle down to the kids that actually got them there?
Oh, yeah.
But let alone you get there and it's like, to see Michael Jordan documentary where he's on the phone. He's damn near, he just hit the game-winning shot his freshman year. What was that, his freshman year? Played with James Worth?
Yep.
He the shit. People know about him. And you calling home asking your mom to send you some stamps and a couple of dollars. You hear Jalen Rose talking about when he was playing for Michigan, and you know he ain't had no bread. You know, like the food that they had to eat. I mean, now it's a little bit different because I mean, it's you have endless food to eat. You know, it's crazy. You know, and not to mention the money that you can buy. I just hope, and I'm going off on a tangent, but I also hope too with all these NILs, like I'm glad they're getting paid, but I really hope that there's a financial literacy piece to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're gonna have to reel this in because even the NIL situation, I believe, just from seeing how everything's playing out, it's kind of like the wild west right now. They're gonna have to reel that in because it's getting out of control, from what I can tell, and it's not going to be sustainable. Before we get out of here, man, let's get some quick video game corner in. Ready? Let's go. So this is going to be a bit of a two-part video game corner because we got to get our man's the storyteller. Of course, he's out sick this week. To comment on this, but I had to bring this up because it was only a matter of time, and that being that Call of Duty. So a Call of Duty cheat maker ordered to pay Activision over $14 million in damages and hand over their domain name. This is a report coming out of IGN actually today. So a high-profile video game cheat maker ordered to pay Activision over $14 million in damages. The U.S. District Court of Central District of California granted Activision's motion for default judgment in the civil case against Engine Owning, which sells cheats for a number of Call of Duty games, as well as Counter-Strike, Battlefield, Titanfall. Going down to it further than that, it says Activision successfully argued that Engine Owning continued to circumvent its security systems and sell the cheating software in violation of digital medium copyright, yada, yada. Of course, you know, Call of Duty has a lot of issues with security and hacking and stuff like that. And the reason I bring it up is, of course, you know, Dave's his Call of Duty account got hacked and recovered it a week or two ago. So now this particular company, man, they've been charged. Now, will they pay it back? I don't know how that works, but over $14 million, man, in damages. You know, Call of Duty, even though I'm not playing it like that at all, but it's very, very competitive, and a lot of mods and stuff like that is happening. So for a person who, and we're talking about value, all the money that you guys spend on Call of Duty, wherever that may come with, whether it's downloadable content or something like that, all the shit's all for naught if somebody comes in and hacks your account or something like that. You lose all that. Think about the folks that who play Fortnite and stuff like that. They spend tons of money and all that stuff there.
Roblox.
Yeah, man. The value of that, and apparently there's those who don't value none of the shit that you do because you know, 14. What's your take on this, though? I know I'm gonna get Dave's take on this on the next episode, but what's your take?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I feel like when you're talking about younger kids, they're the ones that go ask their parents, "Can I get this money to do that?" And especially when you're talking about Roblox to get these skins and things X, Y, and Z. Because my age, I'm not buying those skins. If I earned it and I get money, the digital money, like I'll put something on it, but I'm not doing that. But yeah, I mean, fuck that 14 million. As a Call of Duty player, avid player, yo, fix some of these glitches that y'all have in the game. Fix the fact that when you lose on certain things, I mean, if you playing on like zombies and you lose and you're like at 150 level rank, you go all the way down to 75. Well, sometimes when you win on these missions and you have a higher rank, they just knock you down. Like me, Dave, Eric, we've all had that happen. And I think what pisses us off is because of the time invested in building up your character. You know what I'm saying? And we did it free.
Yeah.
You know, it's even harder for those who are not spending money because, like, it took a little bit more effort. I ain't had to pay for it. I got it through the mud. So it's like I'm doing all of that, and then I lose all of my shit that I worked so hard to get because y'all ain't got y'all shit together. So yeah, I agree. I mean, that's valid to pay that money.
I ain't lost none of my stuff on City Skylines yet. Just saying.
Yeah, it must be nice.
That's the Hot Seat Podcast with your boy Sean Earl. Man, Storyteller's out this week. And by the way, City Skylines 2 comes out in October, so I actually I'm ready for it. In any case, man, of course, man, we're talking about video games, and this podcast won't be what it is if we hadn't taken our Xbox Live conversation from that platform and bring it over to the podcast space, where now we're giving you almost 150 episodes of good podcasting fun. So you can find me on Sonat. You can find me on Xbox Live at Sonat2X. Come on, play. Actually, I've been playing poker a lot. I've been playing.
Which one? What's the one going with P?
Yeah. I've been playing that quite a bit. I've been playing that. I done ran people off the table. You know, learn how to play poker, folks. Learn how to play poker. Like they some of them they don't know. I've been playing. I lost hours just doing that stuff, which is fun. I've already purchased my ultimate edition of both that came with the ultimate package that came with both NCAA and Madden for a cool $130-some. So I got both of them. So I'll be out there day one, actually earlier than that because I got through EA Play, so I get it 3 days earlier. Excited. And again, City Skylines 2 does come out October and some change this year. I'm excited. What you got, man?
NJ Fatboy 973. As usual, still playing Call of Duty, still playing NBA 2K, patiently waiting for this football to drop in July. And then subsequently Madden in August, and then I want to say NBA comes out around September. So like I said, it's going to be a slow, sad season for the ladies out here because it's about to get real come July. It's coming about a month earlier, so y'all prepare. One thing I wish, and I'm actually about to, once I get off of here, I'm going to just peruse on Game Pass, which I don't have, and I'm going to decide. Yeah, I'm going to decide if I'm going to get it. I'm looking for a bowling game.
I'm pretty sure it's up there, bro. I saw
but I'm looking for a certain like quality,
like a simulator.
Some of the ones I seen was like it's cheesy.
You got Game Pass though? Did you finally get your Game Pass?
Well, that's what I was just saying. I'm about to go look on there.
Go up there.
I remember when you told me about the Bluey game.
Yeah, I
was like, I bet I'm about to download that so Rashawn could play. And then I think I was looking for a bowling game and it was like, nah, I wasn't up there. So, but yeah, I'm looking for a bowling game.
You probably can find them. When I say there is a car mechanic simulator game. There's so many like legit games out there, like simulators. Yeah. I'm like, so you can go. I'm pretty sure.
Gotta be one.
They got to be out there somewhere, man. Of course, man. Click the show notes in the show notes to get free delivery on your first order over $35 with Instacart. Shout out to them. We've been doing that thing for a little while now. Just to make sure, I haven't had an issue with Instacart. Uber, on the other hand, Uber Eats or whatever, with people sending food. I ain't got time for that. DoorDash, I've never had my DoorDash. Uber Eats, I don't know what the hell's happening. People just suck these days. They don't value
I will
nothing.
say this, though. Uber Eats, just in case we have a future endorsement, I use Uber Eats the most out of anything. I've used Instacart a lot, which I do love. Yeah. But I've also used Uber Eats, and Uber Eats fuck up. They fuck up.
But, I mean, and you can't even say Uber Eats mess up. It's the people who work for Uber Eats, bro. Like,
but what I will say is that Uber Eats are solid folks because when they do mess up, it's not much of a hassle to rectify the situation.
Yeah, true.
So I will say that.
Yep, man.
DoorDash, I can't say that for.
Yeah, they be doing the most. Of course, man, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Hot Seat Podcast. Listen, like, rate, review, share, and most importantly, enjoy on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and wherever you get your favorite shows, and subscribe on that YouTube channel at the Hot Seat Podcast. I'm your boy, Sean Xavier. That's Earl. Dave will be back with us next episode for episode 149. What did you say? What was that? Oh, one last thing, man. I got to get these. If they got them available, I got to get this jersey.
Bro. So, all right. So since you did that,
yeah, I like it.
I'll just get my pay. I think the jerseys are tough.
Yeah, they look.
Jerseys are tough, and as soon as they came out, I went to go look for them. They're not available yet, but trust and believe when they come out, I'm gonna.
I wonder if they're gonna have legacy like players up there, or is it gonna be current players?
You know what? Honestly, that would be the only time that I would actually get somebody's jersey.
Okay.
Wouldn't wear it, but I would get somebody's jersey, and if I'm going to do it, I'm probably going to get Dexter Lawrence's.
I think I would probably go with my man Antonio Pierce if he was available.
Oh no! If it was people available, I'm armed.
So I wonder how they're gonna do that. Like, I mean, because there's nobody else on that squad that I'm interested in right now.
I mean, cats. Like I said, I just bought a Lawrence Teller, the 86 Spider joint, the authentic Mitchell and Ness. I just bought that, so my next one is probably gonna be a straight hand. And I'm still looking for Jesse Armstead. I hit him on the IG. I said, "Hey, listen, bro. You know I'm your biggest fan. I'm not even asking you to send me one, dog. I'm just point me in the right direction."
Where you can get it from? There you go.
Tell me where I can get it, bro. And authentic
like that. Yeah. Hook my man up, man. Hook my man up.
That's all I ask. So, but yeah, if I find it, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
I like it. All right, folks. See you next time. It's the Hot Seat, man.
Peace.
The Hot Seat.